Hello, friends. I'm Father Frank Pavone, National Director of Priests for Life, with a special message about the Georgia Senate elections. A message not only to Georgia, but for all of us throughout the United States. You know, it is often said that all politics is local. That's actually not true. Much of the time, politics is national. And that's especially true with these two runoff elections in Georgia, Election Day being January 5th, but the voting has already begun. The reason why this is national is that the outcome of these two U.S. Senate races will determine which party controls the Senate. And that in turn will determine what direction the nation goes in its governing philosophy, in legislation, in key aspects of public policy on which there could not be a bigger difference between the Republican and Democrat parties. In this election, we will determine whether or not a Republican majority prevails in the U.S. Senate. Because if a Republican majority prevails in the U.S. Senate, then the Democrat Party cannot get away with passing extreme legislation. Taking away, for example, any reasonable restriction or regulation on abortion in the United States. That's what the Democrats want to do. Strictly reducing religious freedom, as another example, that's what the Democrats want to do. Opening up our borders in a way that goes far beyond legal and reasonable immigration policies. On these and so many more things, the voters in Georgia right now are deciding the direction of our entire nation. The key issue here is what party exercises control. Because the Democrats already control the House of Representatives, and there's a possibility that they will control the White House. So it's the Senate that remains the firewall. It remains the check and the balance against radical and extreme policies that would come about if the Democrats run the table across the board. So no, in this case, politics is not simply local, it's national. And the vote in Georgia is about what party is in control. It doesn't even matter who the candidates are. People will make arguments pro and con about the individual candidates, but you know what? It doesn't matter. What matters this time is what letter follows their name. Is it R or is it D? And it's absolutely essential that we elect the two incumbent Republican senators because we have to give the power to their party. You choose these two Republican senators in Georgia, Senators Loeffler and Perdue, and you are giving power to every single Republican in Congress to be able to preserve reasonable public policies that correspond to our values, to be able to block the extreme agenda of the Democrats. Whereas if this election goes Democrat, again, it doesn't matter what you think of the individual candidates in Georgia. You're voting for Chuck Schumer to have power. You're voting for the radical Democrats like AOC and the Squad to have their way because they'll be able to get their measures passed not only in the House but also in the Senate. And then if they have a Democrat president, to be able to get some of these things signed into law. This is a message not only for the voters of Georgia to keep this in mind, but also for the rest of us, brothers and sisters, because wherever we live, we can help influence the Georgia elections. Go to prolifevotegeorgia.com, prolifevotegeorgia.com, and you'll see the action that you can take. Because even if you live in another state, you can help the Perdue and the Loeffler campaign make calls to voters and educate and influence them about how crucially important this election is. Not just for local issues in Georgia, but primarily for the good of the whole nation, for our future, for our freedoms, for our children and grandchildren. God bless you, friends. Go to prolifevotegeorgia.com today.